Thanks for staying tuned to your station, the Africa Independent Television, and welcome to your program, Security Watch Africa. Every week, we'll bring you that information you need to keep your life safe and secured. Welcome to the program today. So many things has happened during the week, but because of time, we won't be able to go through everything. But first, something drew our attention over the discussion on the issue of ritual killings, especially by the younger ones, and the quest for riches. One video came to readily in mind. Yesterday, we got this video, and it was quite troubling. So I want to draw the attention of security agencies to please ensure that this thing is put to check. Sit back as we play this video for you.
Hey, yo, it's the boy Terry Kingsman. Terry Kingsman, the ghost, aka Oluwa Kings, the ghost, aka Ashfield Villains, aka Successful Danny.
Rich gang.
Okay,
Rich gang.
I will give you two advice. The best way of making success is ritual. Use your girlfriend for ritual. Not use your mama, not use your sister.
Yeah.
Use your girlfriend or use outsider. Now walk past.
Sharp.
If you get short plug, what you go happen?
To use them for ritual.
And if you get short plug, you know if you crazy.
Not be all ritualists, they all mad.
Down and show. Don't be
Now your plug, no what.
the answer. Correct.
Garrett, don't Garrett.
If she not dey appreciate the little things you dey give her, use her do ritual.
See,
Sharp.
guess what they go use they do.
This, I must say, is very, very sad. I believe that something must be done urgently to ensure that this thing that is beginning to consume the society is put to a stop. Parenting is failing. Society is failing. The younger ones are getting out of hands, and something needs to be done. And really, it has to be urgent in doing that. But let's continue with the program today. Yes, one other issue is the use of uniforms, security agencies' uniforms, the armed forces and the police in making movies and videos. This is quite disturbing because they depict some of all these security agencies in bad light, and this is not good. There is a procedure if you must use these uniforms for videos or for any purposes. And we had a chat with the Provost Marshal of the Nigerian Army, Major General Olumuyiwa Ayenigba, to find out what are those procedures as the Chief of Army Staff is trying to clean up the system and make it more people friendly. Sit back as we bring you this report by Shuli Daniels.
The renewed vigor to fight insecurity in Nigeria and streamline the use of Nigerian army uniforms and accoutrements by civilians who tend to make use of them either for filmmaking or musical purposes. The Provost Marshal of the Nigerian Army, Major General Olumuyiwa Ayenigba, advised all interested persons to ensure that they get approval before usage, as this is against the law as enshrined in the Criminal Code at Section 484. Speaking further, he warned that violation to this attracts penalties.
Impersonation is anybody who pretends to be another person in order to trick the other party. In a layman's language, that is just what that can be described as an impostor. We can go further by, looking at what the book says, the statutes, like the Criminal Code Act. Between sections 109 and section 111, these sections now relate to impersonation with regards to the armed forces and the police. It talks about, like section 109 talks about any person who uses the uniform, parts of the uniform, and is not a member of the armed forces or the police, and represents himself to be a member of these organizations, as impersonated in relation to the to the uniformed services. There are other areas, I think, and there are some other sections in the Criminal Act which talks about this issue of wearing uniforms. So the law is actually very detailed when it comes to it. You are not supposed to wear a uniform except you are authorized to wear it. And it talks about the president or even a governor giving you authority to wear the uniform. So our advice generally to the general public is that even those who do dramas, films, and the rest, before you use those things, always seek permission, to do those things, because our advice is based on the law.
To demonstrate the Nigerian Army is the army of the people, Major General Enigba gave advice on how Nigerians should relate with the Nigerian Army.
When people impersonate and commit crimes, it gives the army, an unpleasant image, because there have been several instances of where crimes are committed and, you start hearing people in uniform. Sometimes they even say they are soldiers or other arms of the armed forces. Then later we discover that they are people who have impersonated, So, then when you look at the larger society, there are a lot of crimes that are being committed out there against the general public by people impersonating members of the armed forces or even the police. So the effects for the society and the army is not too good, and that is why we take a lot of pains to go out there, to check, to search for people either impersonating by wearing military uniforms or using military items, to represent themselves to be people they are not. And that is common in our big cities, places like Lagos. You see some members of the general public, there are few of them, but, putting a lot of military items in the vehicle, trying to evade police checks and the rest by displaying, items, insignia, and other things that are, meant for use by only the members of the armed forces. The last advice I want to give, to members of the general public, they should avoid display of, parts of the military uniform or items in vehicles, in order to evade checks by law enforcement agents. And additionally, there are some people also who, either paint their vehicles, in army green color. It's called olive green. Those ones also, when we see such vehicles, we impound. So I also advise them to avoid the inconvenience of, arrest of such vehicles, or those who use these military items, to try to evade checks, particularly in cities like Lagos, Abuja, and others, They should try as much as possible, because the inconvenience is not actually worth it.
This is necessary because of the rampant cases of impersonation of personnel of the Nigerian Army, which has led to bad blood between the Republic and the Nigerian Army and high level of insecurity in Nigeria. Shirley Daniels, reporting for Security Watch Africa.
Well, welcome back. Yes, like you heard there, it's an advice, and please ensure that you imbibe this advice for your own safety, and it will prevent you from being inconvenienced by the law enforcement agencies. Yes, let's quickly go to Lagos State, where now AIG, talking about retired AIG Hakeem Olusegun Odumosu, retired. The police command had a party for him, a send-forth party for him that was well attended and celebrated. Sit back as we bring you this report by Peggy Agbe.
To demonstrate their appreciation for harmonious and inspirational leadership, officers of the Lagos State Police Command organized a send-forth party for their outgoing and retiring Commissioner of Police, AIG Hakeem Odumosu, in Lagos. It was a double-barrel event as the command also had their end-of-the-year party. The party, which had all security chiefs of other security services serving in Lagos State, friends of the AIG, Odumosu, and the command officers and men of the Nigerian police force serving in Lagos State, was full of fun and camaraderie. Earlier before the party, some senior police officers of Lagos State Command spoke to Security Watch Africa on the uniqueness of now-retired AIG Hakeem Odumosu.
He's a focused leader with tenacity of purpose, and his knack for results is very high. He doesn't have any room for failure. Once he gives you an assignment, he expects you to do it speedily and get results.
He's a workaholic. You're a lazy person, you can't be his friend. When he expects much from you, he expects you to do your job with little or no supervision.
It's everything in one body. So it's just everything. He's a detribalized man. He's so hardworking, he's down to earth, and he has a very large heart.
The AIG is a person that, if he gives you an assignment, if you are slack, he will get there before you. So that is what is propelling everybody within the command, to put in their best. Because you will be having it at the back of your mind that, before you call Jack Robinson, the CP is there by himself, 24/7, both during the day and the night. There is no time you call him. In fact, that will not answer you.
A police officer par excellence, and that is how I can put it. Talk of intelligence gathering, the community policing, compliance. AIG Hakeem Odumosu is a police officer.
He is a workaholic, and he pushes everybody to the limit. You get to do things you never ordinarily believe you could while working with him, and he will put you to your toes and bring out the best in you.
Also speaking about AIG Odumosu as Commissioner of Police Lagos State, some critical stakeholders who attended the party gave their views.
This leadership of the security architecture of Lagos has culminated into what we can say a peaceful society as of today, in the sense that it leads by example. It doesn't sit in the office and direct its officers to do whatever on the field. It goes to the field, it knows what is there, where he needs to engage the community, he engages the community, where he needs to lead the force and do whatever and control and direct, he does that. And that is why you could have he could stand up and say, yes, I'm responsible for this or that, because he leads his men and the security program in Lagos.
The outgoing AIG, he's been in Lagos since, I think, 2019, till when he became the AIG. And for me, I think he has worked himself out to ensure that Lagosians sleep with their two eyes closed, not even sleeping, snore as they sleep. For me, I think he has tried and he has laid down a legacy that should be followed by all.
Done very, very, very well. Going by, what he has done, he's been appointed as one of the best CP during his tenure, and you can see all the policies and everything he has executed, especially during the challenging period during the EndSARS. He came up with various positive ideas, and, everything has come so good. So for me, I think I can give him a pass mark in terms of performance.
When it was time to shake the legs and body, AIG Odumosu led his friends, colleagues and subordinates to show that policemen can also dance.
Bàmí Odúwọ́sù. Bàmí Odúwọ́sù. O W and A.
A visibly excited and satisfied AIG Hakim spoke on the feelings about being hosted by officers of the Lagos State Command and having worked in the police force.
I'm highly dumbfounded. When I joined the service over 30 years ago, I never knew that I have this glorious end. And as I gave their testimony, many of us have lost their life because of the hazards of the job. But for me to be alive, to be celebrated like this, is only God Almighty that has the grace. I'm highly happy, and I shall continue to make my service available to humanity.
For officers of the Lagos State Police Command to spend their resources and time to celebrate their former boss is exemplary and a demonstration of true appreciation. Peggy Agbe, Security Watch Africa, Lagos.
Welcome back. What a glorious way to bow out. Incidentally, 2 days after that party, he retired, clocking 60 years old. Congratulations, AIG Udumosu retired. Yes, let's go quickly to another issue that is very, very important. We had an interview with the First Public Relations Officer, CP Frank Kamba, on a number of issues, particularly on redevelopment, training, and capacity development of police officers and men. He spoke on this to us. Sit back as we bring you this interview. Have developed capacity in terms of managing pandemics and all that. But in terms of human capital development, I know that the IGP, in his own wisdom and being coordinated by the principal staff officer in your office, we're able to still get personnel to have meetings and all that. There have been trainings that have been going on, even improving those strategic security managers across this country. But tell us more, how did the capacity being developed?
When Inspector General of Police came on board, IGP Usman Akali, part of his vision again was also to increase our competencies and capacities. He believes that no organization can perform above the competencies, skills, and capacities of his personnel. And so he developed a strategic manpower development policy for the force, which is currently being implemented. For the department I heard, especially speaking about the public relations department, we had a lot of trainings for our personnel of the department. We had support from GIZ. We are currently speaking to the U.S. Embassy, and they also coming up with new programs for us. So we've been able to attract sponsorship from different international organizations. Again, that's because we've also been able to improve on our human rights record, on our capacity, on our crime fighting skills. Because if we have poor records, we won't be able to attract the kind of funding we are attracting internationally from these very responsible agencies across the world. So, and this same thing is being replicated in other departments. And as I speak to you, the IG, working with the Police Trust Fund, is carrying a massive renovation of our training institutions. This is also to enable us provide a very conducive environment for the training of the 10,000 police officers that have just commenced training, who have already been recruited, and they commenced their training about 10 days ago. And so we've been able to put those colleges and police training institutions in habitable order so that these trainings can go on in the most professionally and globally accepted, under under the most professionally and globally accepted conditions.
I know that you are busy, so we don't intend to keep you forever, but let me just take this as to round up this session now. This February 7 and 8, the Nigeria Police Force is partnering with Akwa Ibom State Government to have conference and retreat for critical strategic partners. What is it meant for? What is it intended for?
The retreat is actually something we want to be doing annually, and our plan is to always do a retreat either the last month of the year or
first quarter,
or the first quarter of the new year. The whole idea is for us to do a kind of stock taking and then an agenda setting. So during that retreat, the police will be able to tell itself the truth. We'll be locking up ourselves away from all the other daily challenges and distractions that are associated with our offices. We're going to look to ourselves, eyeball to eyeball, carry out critical peer review, look at our activities from the beginning of the year, the previous year, to the end of that previous year, and look at those areas where we think we have done well, and look at the pending challenges, and try to come up with solutions on how to deal with those challenges. Chart roadmap for the future, set agenda for the future, and come out with measurable tasks, and then begin to execute them. And that's exactly what we intend to do during the retreat in Akwa Ibom. Actually, there's a slight change in our dates. Earlier on, our arrival date in Uyo was supposed to be on the 6th of February, and then the opening ceremony will be on the 7th. The conference continues, the retreat continues. Immediately after the opening ceremony, we go into the retreat and then continue on the 8th, finish in the evening, have a gala night, and then depart on the 9th. However, the IG has just approved a slight change. So rather than arriving on the 6th, we'll be arriving on the 7th. Opening ceremony and the retreat will commence on the 8th or to the 9th, and then departure will be on the 10th, and that's the new date. But Uyo is a beautiful city, and we intend to actually take advantage of the serenity of that state. It's also one of the states with the lowest crime rate in this country, and the people of Uyo are also very friendly people, and so it will also afford us opportunity to carry out our community policing message to the people of Uyo, establish new contacts, establish new partnership, and work together to deepen the peace and security already in place in Uyo.